What's up? Today we're going to be reviewing some of my practice footage from literally just a couple hours ago flying the Pro Stock Quad. I've got stick cam, I've got some nice DVR. It's definitely not clean by any means, but I want to watch it one time all the way through, one time at half speed, and just talk through what I'm looking at. The skill I'm definitely trying to develop is watching a performance back and learning from it with things I did good, things I was happy about, and things I felt I could improve on. Drone racing is so much about pace, so much about performing under pressure, and so much about discipline that you really can learn a lot if you know what you're looking for. And I'm going to talk through some of those things that I see in my flying because I definitely wasn't disciplined in some moments. I had some moments where I did some things really, really good, but I also had moments where I had huge bobbles, huge errors. And at the end of the day, if I would have just knocked it back 5 or 10%, it definitely would have been faster to the finish line. And that's, at the end of the day, what matters. Sure, it's fun to have a fast lap. Sure, it's fun to have a fast ladder every now and then. But I'm just going to talk through how I feel like I can improve on getting to the finish line faster. I've got the clip pulled up on my monitor, and first we're gonna watch it in full speed like I said. I think there's a lot to learn from there. We can talk through some of the more general things, and then we can watch it at half speed and talk maybe some more technical things, what I'm doing with my throttle, what I'm thinking in different moments, where I did good, where I did bad, and hopefully we can all learn something in the process. Go. First thing we can definitely talk through is just the track. Definitely wanted to be more open. There's a hurdle, a ladder up here, wrap around, and then this is definitely an open section that we're gonna focus on a lot. Really 3 flags, this one, the top one, the tree, and then through a gate. The theory of the best way to fly through that, especially 3-dimensionally with going higher and lower, is something I'm really interested in, and it can't be talked about in any other sport. Drone racing is one of the only sports that has these 3-dimensional turns. Then we have some technical sections like the ladder here, obviously made a bobble, trying to go really fast here. Then we have what we ended up calling like the slither section through there, which I thought was really interesting. Some more technical low stuff, which I was really happy with how I flew, and then into the next part. What I want to look at is definitely how hard the flying looks. What I always like to say is in spec racing, more than likely the fastest guys flying is gonna look easy because that means there's no energy wasted. If you see somebody really jerky or looks like they're about to crash, and it may look high energy and it may look really fast, rarely is that faster than someone who is so precise, placing the drone exactly where they want to in every single turn, and that's the flying that we should be striving for. Now typically that flying comes from flying below your maximum skill level, and so there are times where I had that discipline, was able to do that, crashed there, and there were times where I obviously didn't and I got jerky. So that's something I definitely want to avoid. It's something I noticed from this first fly through at full speed where it's very apparent. Let's drop it into half speed and see a little bit more about what the sticks are doing, what the throttle's doing, when it looked like I stall, all these things we're going to talk about. Going into half speed now, we're going to be looking a lot more for times when we think the drone is stalling, coming to a stop. So you see here in that turn, the drone looked like it was moving pretty consistently. We never want to see the drone stop and have to reaccelerate. Through that corkscrew or that ladder up, it was pretty good. Here we're going to look at the open sections. You're going to see I'm pulling to the left to try and give myself opportunity to apex into the next tree. Did that flag nicely. Going to the right of that flag. I'm not doing directly at the flag. It's a common misconception. Here I actually hit this boat, which is kind of funny, had a slight bobble. But I want you to look at where the drone is actually flying on the map. I'm coming up to this flag. I actually don't go around it, so I'm sorry, but I'm not flying directly at it. I'm going to the left of it. I didn't go around it. Here, I'm not pointed directly at the flag. I'm going to the right of it. Here, I'm not going straight into the gate. I'm going at it at an angle because I'm doing all this to set myself up for the next element and potentially even the second to next element. Here, I'm going way right at the flag and doing a late apex to set myself up for this ladder down. Ladder down, drop it down. I make a bobble here. Totally okay, whatever, going on. Next, I want you to see into the slither section. I'm not worried about this first gate. I'm going extra wide and pointing straight at this next gate, which is just something that sounds easy in practice, but what you really start to see from high-level pilots is always, 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 every turn is setting them up for the next one. So they're not doing every element the same. People always ask, well, how do I practice corkscrews? How do I practice ladders? How do I practice this hurdle like I just did?
And what's really important to remember is they're not all the same. You have to take into account what's after that, what's before that. And a really good pilot is able to loop all of these maneuvers together seamlessly. Next, we're gonna look at the throttle percentage. In this spec racing, like I talked about in a previous video, everybody's at full throttle. You can't add more throttle, it's impossible. All the drones are gonna be the same speed. That's what you want. You don't want your drone to be faster. You want them all to be the same speed, and it just matters what you're doing on the sticks. But you can't hold it full throttle all the time either. So if you look at my left stick, you'll see that I'm actually lifting before I go in to these various corners, especially the high G maneuvers. And then what that means is basically when the prop is really having to dig into a hard ladder, into a hard corner, I always blip it just as I go into the maneuver. And you may have to watch this back yourself, and it's really hard to explain, quite honestly. It starts to become an intuitive feel thing, but if you spend a lot of time on the simulator, spend a lot of time out on the track, you'll start to develop this feel of when you need to let off the throttle and when you need to apply full, because obviously you want to be at full as much as possible, but if you go into a corner at full throttle, much like you would with a car without braking, it's impossible to accelerate through it. You actually have to decelerate through it. So the fastest way to go through it will be to decelerate slightly before it, give yourself a little bit of extra traction and grip to accelerate through it. This is my favorite ladder. Really happy with this ladder. It was a good pre-turn. Here I crash. Obviously the end of the video. I'm gonna try and keep doing more of this. Again, more than anything, this is probably super boring for you all, but I am trying to learn and talk through the things that I think I'm doing good or bad so that I can try and become a better pilot. And if you all can learn anything from it to see what I'm talking about, then that'd be awesome. So I hope to see you all at the track. Saying it's one thing, doing it's another. You need to practice these things. Study your own DVR, compare it to other people's, study your stick cams, do it all. If you're trying to get better, if you're trying to perfect the craft of drone racing, you can't just go out and fly. If you're trying to do anything, I guess for that matter, you can't just go out and dilly-dally around. If you're really trying to level up, get to that next level, studying outside the track is what's gonna help that. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do, and hopefully it pays off for the race here in a few weeks. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one.